Thanks for having me. It's an honor to open our conference and talk about Grandoreiro, a global Trojan with grandiose goals. Let's get started. Grandoreiro come from Brazil with no love. Grandoreiro is a banking Trojan, part of a big set of families of banking Trojans. All they have in common, they are originated in Brazil. And at some point in their existence, they decided to move abroad. They decided Brazil is a small country for us, we need to go abroad. We need to expand our operations. And these are some of the banking Trojan families that did this, and Grandoreiro is one of them. We are following these guys since 2016. So for a long time, and we saw over the years how they changed, how they did a real evolution from a really small banking Trojans to be an international threat, as I'll show it to you today. Grandoreiro is able to steal banking accounts, credentials from banking customers doing online banking from any kind of bank, small, regional, multinational banks, fintechs. They even steal credentials from cryptocurrency, crypto wallets, credit union, credit card issuers, but also, and very interesting, they are able to steal credentials from national central banks. So a very complete threat, able and prepared to steal a lot of credentials and act worldwide. You can see here the list. Grandoreiro is only one of them. And when we say Grandoreiro, we use it to say they are big, they are grande. And I'll show you why, showing some numbers. The number of banks targeted by Grandoreiro is really impressive. 1,700 banks are targeted by them. It means they are able to monitor and steal credentials from this big list of banks. And also more than 276 crypto wallets located in 45 countries in all continents of the world. So they are able to operate globally. And among them, they named themselves as the new Zeus Trojan. Back to 15 years ago, you remember, the big threat, financial threat, Zeus. They named themselves, we are the new Zeus. So initially, they started in Latin America, and then they decided to expand abroad, first in Latin America, then going to Europe, targeting financial entities in Portugal, Spain, Italy, and now, more recently, they added banks from Asia and Africa. They are really big, really, really big. And here, we have a very interesting situation. If you see the statistics worldwide, banking Trojans are declining year by year, and there are a lot of reasons doing this declining, especially because most of the home users are nowadays using mobile banking, not using the desktop to enter in their bank account, most of them. But Grandoreiro, they are persistent. And why they are still creating new banking Trojans for desktop, for Windows? Because companies and government entities are still using online banking in desktop. That's why. And they do a lot of transactions in the desktop with a big amount of money. So that's why they keep it. But if you look globally, as a threat, banking Trojans are declining. But if you see some regions in the world, for example, Latin America, you will see that the situation is a bit different. There's a spike you see in the graphic. It was Grandoreiro attacking in Latin America. And globally, Grandoreiro is nowadays the in our global position, global detections of banking Trojans, they are number 6. But they want to be number 1, and I'll show you the reasons. Well, how they do the infection? Nothing new here. Their infection vectors are emails written in Portuguese, written in Spanish, or in English. The old social engineering tricks, they do it, nothing new. And they have a lot of tricks. But the infection flow usually starts with a phishing email that invites the user to do a click to download a file, a zip file. Inside the zip file, there are an MSI file that you do DLL side loading, or a LMK file that will download the first loader, then the final payload, and in the end, they will steal your information. Well, other interesting tricks they do, they use binary padding, a very interesting technique when they inflate the size of the zip table, making it very big in size. And there's a reason for that. They use it as a way to avoid sandbox automatic analysis, and also as a way to avoid detection from some products that don't check big files. It's very interesting. They also use digitally signed malware files. And of course, they are evolving every year. And I'll show you the new tricks they added very recently. One of them, they added a new feature to record victims' mouse usage pattern. Why? There are some security solutions based in machine learning systems that are monitoring users' mouse movements. And Grandoreiro are recording this as well because they want to reproduce. And they want to bypass these security solutions. Very very interesting and clever technique. They also added recently a very unique cryptography technique called CTS. It's ciphertexting stealing. This is very fresh. We never saw a malware using this technique to encrypt their content. First time we saw this. Also, they are now working with 3D GAs to hide their infrastructure. You can see they are evolving every year. How they steal your money? Very easy. They do overlay. They put a fake screen in the top of the bank website. They can install a keylogger, a video logger, screen logger, but most of the time they work as a rat that can control and have a full access to your computer. Of course, they are able to steal any kind of authentication that you are using, OTP, token, any kind of two-factor authentication way the banks are adopting nowadays. They are able to bypass this. And how they cash out, how they put their money in their hands in the money. They can use, of course, money mules. There are plenty of money mules worldwide. They can buy cryptocurrency. They heavily rely on local partners, on affiliate to help them. They can use money transfer apps such as Revolut, Wise, and many others in the market, available in the market. They can buy gift cards, or they can just go to an ATM to do a withdrawal in the money. That's easy, the way they do. Well, Grandoreiro gang, they were arrested twice. First time they were arrested in Spain in 2021. Part of the gang were arrested. 16 guys were arrested in 5 cities in Spain. In their hands, the Spanish police found more than 200,000 euros. A lot of money, a lot of money. It was the end? Unfortunately, no. Only a few members of the gang were arrested. And now, more recently, Kaspersky helped Interpol, which is our partner, to disrupt part of the Grandoreiro campaign. We share information with Interpol about the malware, about their global operations, and Interpol with their partners, Brazilian Federal Police and Spain National Police, they were able to do a full investigation and find the bad guys. And they did what I'm always desired to do as a malware analyst. You know, when we are analyzing malware, we can't arrest bad guys. We can't kick their doors at 5 a.m. in the morning to arrest them. But the police can do it. And that's why we share data with them. And they were able to kick their doors at 5 a.m. I'll show to you some pictures of them kicking their doors. Something very pleasure to see, in my opinion. Arresting cyber criminals. According to one bank in Spain that shared a lot of data with the police, the Grandoreiro gang, only in Spain, they were able to steal more than 3.5 million euros, only from this bank. But their attempts was in total 110 million euros. A lot of money. A lot of money. And we share data with them to help Interpol and their partners to complete this arrest, which was fantastic. And I'll show you some data that the police share with us to know more details. Brazilian Federal Police arrested in total 13 guys located in 5 states in Brazil. They also did 5 temporary arrests, and also issued 13 search warrants with them smartphones, a lot of money, computers, and so on. The police found, look, this is very interesting, a bill of 1,500 US dollars. That was the cost for them to keep their infrastructure running. Not so much money. And interesting, the police found, when they arrested one of the money mules in this operation, and the smartphone of the money mule, a motivational message in the exactly moment when the money mule received an amount of money. It was very precious for the police to catch them. And also a lot of emails, because this gang, they hire a lot of hosting services located in Poland and Arabic countries as a way to avoid takedown. And that operation initially resulted in good numbers. I mean, they registered a fall of 60% of victims connecting to the C2. So the initial result was positive. The number of victims fall a lot following the arrests. That was the end? Of course not. And unfortunately, no. Few days after the arrests, Grandoreiro, they released a new version to show that they are still alive. And they did some reactions that I think it's interesting. First of all, they changed the code and they are more careful now with initial checking in the system. They do a lot of checkings to make sure that the malware are not being running in a box that belongs to a virus analyst, or it's not running in a machine that belongs to a police officer. They do a lot of checkings to make sure that this is a real victim, this is a potential victim. They also changed the cryptography, as I told you, the CTS technique, and also they expanded once again, adding more banks in their targets, banks from Africa and Asia. And also, and this is completely new, completely fresh, we announced it today, they created local and small versions, fragmented versions, targeting only some countries. They released a lighter version to target customers in Mexico, targeting only 30 banks. Like a small version created to target users in Mexico. And we believe this can be a trend. Small and lighter versions. And now let's see a video that shows how the malware works. You see in the left side the malware operator tool, and in the right side you see the victim's screen. This video were made by Brazilian Federal Police. So in the left side you're seeing this is the operator tool. The bad guy put it to monitor the C2 and check what victims connect to the C2. The name of the tool, PixLogger, is one of them. And the second tool you can see that a remote KL. KL in this case means keylogger. It's the name of the tool. And in the right side, you can see victim's computer that infects itself with the malware. And from this moment, every website that the victim visits will be recorded and monitored by the Trojan. And exactly the moment when the victim enters in a bank website, the criminal will receive a notification. Like, hey, a new potential victim. On this moment, the malware can have a full control of the machine. As a rat, they not only can control, but they can manipulate everything and see the same screen and put a fake warning, like we installing a new security module in your computer, which is completely fake, but at this moment, the criminal froze the screen to use the session to enter in the bank account and steal the money. They are able also to capture any OTP token or any code asked by the bank, and the malware is able also to capture any kind of password, token, any kind of two-factor code asked by the bank, and on doing this, they are able to steal their money. That's how the malware works. Well, and let's jump into conclusions. We believe it's difficult to eradicate, to kill a malware family, but we believe an impact in their operations are totally possible. That's why we keep cooperating with Interpol and other law enforcement agencies in the world. We know Brazilian banking Trojans, they are now an international threat. They want to expand even more. The thing is, they are only filling the gaps left by Eastern European gangs who migrated into ransomware. We know that a lot of cyber criminals, they don't want banking Trojans anymore. They want ransomware, it's more profitable. So there is a big gap in the market, and Brazilians are just filling the gap, offering banking Trojans to which one want to work with them. We know in some countries, internet banking are declining on desktop, but the target of Grandoreiro's target now are companies and governments who are still using it. They already started targeting users in mobile banking. They have a banking Trojan for Android called Gmob. They develop it, so they are ready to target these victims as well. And we know cooperation among law enforcement agencies and the private sector is really necessary to keep fighting cybercrime. This is my conclusions. Thank you very much. Sukma Pizan.